Hello everyone, you join us for a brand new live stream here on my channel, and this is going to be something completely different. Well, not different than my other stuff really, but tonight I actually wanted to do this video with my good friend Tidmouth Yard. Say hello.
Hello.
So he's come along to have a wee chat with me, and we're going to talk about a current work in progress project that both him, myself, and members of our Model Railway Club have been working on since late 2019. And to be honest, when this all started, we actually weren't exactly sure if this was going to work or not. In fact, we were still surprised that everybody said yes to the project. Um, can you remember? Can you remember the meeting, the evening at all?
I was at the second meeting and I remember coming in. It was actually the day we were worried we couldn't fit the thing in.
Yeah, because we're basically set up in we were set up in a place called Men's Sheds, and one of our towns, one of the town nearest to me had recently started one up and in this old school building. And an old friend of mine had wanted to start up a model railway club in somewhere in the town, but he just couldn't get the place, the space to hold one. He tried looking at various old shops and out there, but they were charging too much for rent and so forth. But he heard that this men's shed was happening, and he asked, "Hey, can I set up a model railway club here?" And they said, "Yes, of course." So at the time, I was at another model railway club at the time, but my time there was a wee bit, I don't know. I was only there for a few weeks, but it just wasn't sitting well with me at the time because um, I was arriving back after work and so forth, so I was tired, and every time I'm trying to work on my lead and so forth there, I'm just too tired to work on it there, and I'm stressed and so forth. But then it's also the travel to get to it as well, because I think it was like a half an hour drive from my house to it. So I thought, this is uh, this is going to be quite hard to deal with though. But yeah, when my friend told me that this club was starting up and it was only like about a 5 minute drive from my place, I'm like, that's even more handier. Um, so how did you find out? How did you find out about the club?
I found out about it through your Twitter actually.
Of course, yeah. I actually forgot
Yeah.
about this. Yeah, because
So I saw your tweet that you were doing the Tidmouth effort and I thought, well,
yeah,
should I ask? Should I ask? And I just thought, well, if I don't ask, I'll never know if I was right.
yeah, because
So it turned out it wasn't that far away at all, which was good.
no, no. In fact, it was only like a very short distance.
Mm.
So we formed. So basically, we formed up in the men's shed one evening. They were still busy getting everything all sorted out with their woodworking workshop, and we were just sitting in this little quiet room, which I think at the time was meant to be their reading room. And we were just sitting there, just literally throwing ideas, saying, "Right, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? This and that." There. First meeting, that was pretty much what it was. We just ended the meeting with absolutely nothing. But we has no ideas whatsoever what we were gonna do. I think like the next thing we would just say is like, right, we're just gonna come back and we're just gonna have like come back with ideas with track plans or so forth. I came back with like a bundle load of track plan books like from Pico, Hornby, and so forth. There, the guy says they wanted like a big layout, like a big mainline type layout. So I said, look, choose any one of these. And what was it? They never actually could pick exactly what it is they want from things. They didn't want anything from the track plan books. They just wanted something a bit more different or something a bit more, I don't know, practical, I suppose. And I think that was the meeting you turned up. Is what you arrived,
Mm.
and it just then got to a stage where one guy just says, "Look, all we need is a layer that has a mainline station at one side, and it has to go through some countryside and there, and gets to a countryside station, and that's pretty much it. Is there anything we can do for that there?" And that was when I thought to myself, "Hang on, there is one layer that we could try, but it's a bit risky, and plus it does fit in within the size wise that we've been given for the space." And so I says, "Look, would you mind giving me about 5 minutes or so just to get something here, and I'll come back." And I came back with this giant folder, this big giant red folder that I have, which contains all of my Reverend Audrey model Larry references and notes and that there. I basically call it like my history folder of the Reverend Audrey's modelling. And I showed them the track plan for the Northwestern line. I says, "Look, I have this here. I was thinking about doing this at some point in the future, but um, I don't know. I'm just thinking this would this be anything up your street there? And the guys were literally like literally looking all over the plan, and one guy just literally just burst out saying, "This is exactly what we're looking for." And so there was some chats and so forth there. They were throwing ideas about this and that there, about how to build it and that there. And come the end of the evening, like I was still not sure exactly what was going to happen and so forth. And I can't remember what you were what were you thinking at the time when everybody was like looking over these plans?
I just thought it was so surreal because it's
Yeah,
one of these things that you just, you see on the real live site, and it's like you never think you're actually going to see it realized.
yeah. Because then it was then the question was that I think I remember the question that was brought up by one of our joiner at the club. He actually said, "Is this layout still around? Is the guy who made this still around?" And I says, "No, he died in 1997."
Mm.
And he says, "Is the layout still around?" And I says, "No, it got dismantled in 1953." And to which point he says, "Right, we're going to replicate this. We're going to build it exactly to this scale." I'm like, "What?" And you and me looked at each other. We went, "What?" We were like, "Oh my god, are we actually doing this here?" And I'm like, "Oh crap, we're actually doing this." So I do remember when I was driving home that evening. I let out a huge scream. I was like, "Oh my god, we're actually doing this!" Because I didn't actually think like this was like one of the biggest challenges I've like any Thomas modeler probably has ever done in the time. Like making a replica of Revan Audrey's first Thomas layout,
Mm.
and I don't know, I just didn't know what to think at the time. Like, so I just thought, yeah, this is happening. So, um, so I went home and I actually had to get copies of the plans. So, if you give me a wee sec, guys, I'm just going to get a screen up here at the moment so you can see what is going to be shown. Let me see. I just change this here real quick. Okay, so that's not there. That's not there. Right. Okay, so this is the track plan that we're using for the layout. So this is basically the track plan of the northwestern region, or the NWR, from Tidmouth to Natford. This was done by Revan Audrey. Well, the layout was built by Revan Audrey, but the track plan was drawn by Mr. P.R. Wickham, who helped Revan Audrey so many times with his railway modelling. And just one second, can you see that? Can you see that? Okay.
Yeah, I've got the stream up. It's showing up.
Yeah, that's good. All right, so this is basically the track plan that we were using to begin with. So we're basically using two track plans here. So we're using this one first here, and then we're using this one as well. So we're using both track plans at the same times. But we're using this one mainly for getting the size of the baseboards, because very cleverly Mr. P.R. Wickham very coincidentally left a scale rule at the bottom here, so you can see there. So that was able to give us an idea exactly how long each board has to be, and we used that as like a main reference type thing. There was a wee bit of creativeness that we actually allowed ourselves to do, which was to round where Natford is. You can see where it actually kind of goes in and out slightly, where these two houses and all are. That's basically just down to the room setup that this layout was built in here. But we just basically just had that all squared off. Really, it's just square baseboards and that there. But yeah, that's pretty much what we were using for reference there. But in terms of track plan wise, we're actually using this one here because what we're trying to do with this project is try and finish what Reverend Audrey started. Because as far as I know, he never finished this layout, and it's our aim to try and finish it for him. And the idea is to try and get all the areas that weren't in there, but also maybe try and alter some parts as well. So, for example, Thomas's branch line, the way he has it portrayed here, where it has this sort of like an S bend type thing. We're not really gonna model this because I think it's probably going to be a bit tricky to model, and plus we're going to be taking this to exhibitions as well.
Yeah,
So
it's also
it's
the tank engine Thomas again version of Farker as well.
Yeah, as far as I know, yeah, because I think this is probably where the original Dolby probably got um, the references wrong for some of the track setups, perhaps, or
Hmm.
for where certain things were.
This
Sorry,
this
just pouring
version's
myself a drink here real quick.
this version's very much ripped apart in the iOS book.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like where it has the station master Farquhar literally ripping off, saying, "Nope, this is not exactly how it's made. It's not how it's portrayed." So, um, but yeah, so that's basically what we were using there, basically for the track plans and so forth. There was a little debate as to whether or not we should include the return reverse loop, because one of us was not really too sure about wasting a baseboard for for a circle of track, and this was thought on for quite a while, and alternatively we were going to think about maybe putting like a turntable fiddle yard of some sort.
Hmm.
But then I think it was then I mentioned to him, to this member, that Reverend Orgy had this very clever trick when it came to operating the coach stock for the Express, where he actually painted the other side of the coaches in different colours, so that when the train's turned round, it actually shows like there's a different train being pulled, and I think it was quite amusing for seeing the visitors' reactions to it there when that's being operated there.
Hmm.
And I says to him that this is when I told him about this method, he burst out laughing. He says, "Oh, we have to do that. That's actually quite a good idea." And I says, "Well, we could do that there with the reverse loop there, but seeing as you don't want that in that there, we'll just have to make do with the turntable." "Oh no! We have to do this. We have to make that loop then, just to create this effect." so so the reverse loop, this whole little circle of track there is now brought back in just to recreate that little fun little um, joke thing or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's so one express is 3 brown, 1 maroon, isn't that right?
Yeah, I think it was like I think two were in Northwest and Brown, one was in Maroon
And then the
or
other's in Great Western, so that's the other
Great Western,
express.
possibly. I need to look back at it again here.
Hmm.
Um, I'm not so sure. Just like guys in the chat here, I'll answer your questions in a wee sec here. Just give us a wee sec just to get through all this here. Right. So yeah, once we had our plans and all set up here, myself and everybody at the club and yourself, Timothy, we got to work on building the baseboards. So this is the day one of the building of the layout. And there's your James. Your James and your
Oh
and
yes, of
your
course.
is that a Clive Spelm coach?
Yes, it was. I've since sold those on, but they were used for a lot of clearance testing, if I remember.
Of course, yeah, because I think we were trying to measure out exactly how long um, the return loops or so were meant to be
Hmm.
for both mainline and Thomas's branch. So that's it there. At the time being here, this other layout you see up in the left hand corner, that was occupying our space for the time being, because there was an open day at this man shed there, and this member brought down one of his layouts there just to show off exactly like what's going to be taking place here hopefully in the upcoming years, and people were quite excited about it there. So that's what happened there. So you can see there that we have printed copies of the not the arm web, the Real Lives Thomas Tank Engine website page of the Multiwary News article. So we use that there basically for references, not there for like knowing more about the layout and so forth there. And I think amongst those as well, there is a edited copy of the PR workcam track plan where I actually have the scale rule inserted, so I would know exactly how long each baseboard is, or how long the perimeter of the layout is.
Hmm.
So it's a bit of a ongoing thing. At the time here, the mansion were busy making up Christmas decorations there, so I'd say this was probably, I don't know, November, October time.
Yeah, God, that's so long ago now.
I know. And this is the layer that was moved. It was moved into this where that other layer was at the time. So I think this was now coming around to about um, near late November time, December,
Hmm.
because I do remember there was a Christmas party that took place here, and I was having a wee bit of fun just moving the carriages back and forth every now and again just to try and get to try and get an idea exactly what we're setting out to achieve. And it's a what was that? Is that Ginty or is that the no, that's the 1400 there that you got.
Oh yes, yes. I'm making that
Aye.
into Oliver on the Run at the moment, actually.
Oh, very nice, very
Yeah,
nice.
so be a nice cameo for the layout.
Yeah. Just so you know, these coaches and locos and stuff there, they were actually donated to us by some anonymous person who heard about us and says, right, you can have these here. So some of them weren't in the best of conditions there, so we did our best to try and restore them as best we can. I took there was a B12, an old Triang B12, which I took in and repaired, and you took the 1400.
Hmm.
And these two Great Western coaches, I think we just left those just for clearance sake and out there.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to that Ginty though. I think I don't know if you took it or I took it. I'm not sure.
I can't remember what happened to it.
Maybe I took it there for salvaging for parts. I don't know. I'm not sure
Hmm.
because I think at the time I was repairing model engines for people as a side job really. 'Cause there was one fellow down south of Ireland who um, he was part of a Facebook group I was on, and he was asking, does anybody know how to repair Triang engines? I'm trying to get these two Triang engines running again. And I says, yeah, I'll fix them here for you. And he set them up to me, and I got them fixed in no time. And to show his thanks, he as well as the payment for the repairs, he also sent me some homemade chocolate that his sister makes as part of their shop. He has a business run making clay figurines for like displays, not their chromatic china like figurines, and yeah, his sister also makes like homemade chocolate there, so it's actually really good actually. So next time I'm down there, I'm gonna try and see if I can source that shop up there because the chocolate's absolutely fantastic. Anyway, so that's that there. We got another shot there. Now I do remember we had a lot of we had a lot of problems with this area because of the lighting in this place. Because you can see from the picture here, the lighting was terrible for us to work in, and we just couldn't see exactly what we were doing. Because our area of the shed was like so pitch black, and well, not really pitch black, but like we were basically in the shadows basically. So just couldn't see anything there. So next time I came in, there was this giant light that just appeared, and one of our guys had brought in like a makeshift overhead lighting gantries, which was quite nice. So at least we had plenty of light to work off there. So, but yeah, this is basically us getting the Natford section track laid up. So we're using Pico Streamline flexible track with Pico Streamline points. I think we're using medium radius for
Hmm.
most of all this.
As opposed to the original, which was O gauge reels.
Yeah, it was O gauge Bonds rails, and it was on. What did he use actually? I think I read up somewhere he used Bonds rail, with metal chairs out there, and he had to pass them into I don't know hardboard track base or something or other. But he later then had to Revenant then later came up with the idea of actually just like making cardboard sleepers, glued them onto a bit of balsa wood, put some staples through it, and soldered the track onto the staples, which helped speed up the process there. So, well, we decided just to buy Pico tractors to just speed things up because it was already there. So, plus Revenant used Pico stuff for the Northwestern layout, as far as I know, for like track templates or so on. So, so yeah, at least Pico is lending a hand here with this, with the rebuild.
Hmm.
So that's the curve there leading up to Tidmouth, and then we got the board laid up for the quarry section, the Little Natford Quarry.
Yeah, not many people know. I certainly didn't know that there was a quarry on this layout.
No, neither did I until I saw the pictures of online. So I thought, yep, okay, there's a quarry. It's being modelled.
With a little bit of 009 as well.
But yeah, because as far as I know, that's actually meant to be like a uh, horse-drawn line. So I don't know exactly what they were mining there. I think it's just like normal stone or whatever that took
Mm.
place in Natford. It might not have actually lasted that long until I think the Nofa quarries were discovered, and so
Mm.
they decided to close that one down because Farquhar stone was a lot more weather resistant. So that quarry was closed off. And I think probably in Tank Engine Thomas again, you actually may I think maybe it's just a bit of an illustration error probably, or maybe I'm just over exaggerating it there. But sorry, if you look in the picture of Thomas and the guard where Thomas stops at the signal, you can actually see the cliff edge of the quarry as Thomas goes around the curve entering the branch line.
Mm.
So I'd say that's probably where that quarry section ends. So this is basically the track that I just all laid down here, just getting it all ready for the ballasting stages. I think it was me that suggested that we used Pico ballast because I don't know. I think at the time I wasn't sure about Woodland Scenics because I just thought maybe we could try maybe something a bit more different. And plus, I thought the Pico ballast had a bit more of I don't know, a bit more of a nostalgia look to it. I think,
Mm.
but
Yeah.
I don't know. But we used Pico Parent Way Brown weathered ballast for this here, so you'll see that in a wee sec here. But I took these pictures here because I wanted to show areas where I had installed some isolation sections on the mainline section of the station, so that when it comes to operating the layout, we can actually hold a train at the station whilst we set up another operation sequence. And it just allows the layout to be controlled by one person, really, which I hoped at the time everybody thought everybody would be okay with that. It's just so that'd be good training exercise for anybody who wants to operate a model layout realistically.
Mm.
But there was also a section which I did install where somebody else can control the branch line operation. So there'll be a section where a Gauge Master W plug-in controller can be plugged into the side of the layout so that the Farquhar branch line can be operated on its own separate controller while somebody else operates the main line. And yeah, it's just a couple of shots there. Pretty nice. By the way, if you're wondering with all this, what way the walls painted there, somebody who heard that we wanted to set up our club in this section of the shed just decided to paint up the wall to try and make it look roughly like a model railway back scene. So these green bits are meant to be hills, and this blue bit's meant to be the sky, but that's didn't seem to work really. I think we can do something a bit better. And yeah, it's just two of the other guys here, members there. Just getting the dust cover sheets applied. These photos were taken some time earlier on. So that's just those there. Yeah, these are just a couple of more shots here that I took. Now, apparently, I actually made a bit of a balls up here in this section here because I don't know why I laid the track like this, or somebody made. So I think somebody else, I don't know if it was me or somebody else laid the track like this here, but this is not actually how it's meant to be shown on the track plan. So if I go back to the track plan itself, you can see, where is it? Down here, you can see what way the tracks are meant to go. So they're meant to be aligned with each other, whereas here they're not. They're not. Well, two of them are, but one of them isn't. So I had to before we started ballasting, I had to try and fix that issue. But that was like at a later stage. So that was just us like giving our final look over of the whole thing before we start on the next stage. I think, in fact, this is actually before we actually started on the quarry section. Because that's, you can see where the track ends there.
Mm.
And then this was like after we'd done that bit. So that actually looks really impressive, like, so far.
Yeah.
So let's see. Where do we get to the track lines? The track last stage. Let's just a little bit there. Sorry, some of these photos are probably in the wrong order, so I'm just trying to look for these small thumbnails, exactly which one came first, or so forth. So I think also at the time as well, we were actually also trying to see about finding a new location to house the layout, because we weren't really quite so pleased at exactly as where we were in this shed, because first of all, the wood, we were basically exposed to the woodworking workshops, and there was so much noise and hammering and all going on, and plus sawdust was floating through the air and was landing all over our stuff. So that's the reason why we put the dust sheets on the layout, because that was all happening. So we were trying to find a new location. I think at the time, we were trying to find a porter cabin of sorts to try and set up the club in. And I was looking on Gumtree and Facebook Marketplace out there and looking for all these secondhand stuff to try and see if there's anywhere we can get one at a reasonable price. And there weren't even old wrecks there were going for like three numbers or three knots. So that was a no go. So yeah, so whilst the search was still going on, we just carried on with this here. So and yeah, we sprayed the track with what was it, Tamiya Leather Brown?
I think it was, and as well as that, I think just before we sprayed it, this was when we were actually able to test the layout for the first time, wasn't it?
Yeah, we did. We did test the layout with the controller, because I think I can't remember. I can't remember if I bought the controller afterwards or before we did this test, because we used my my Gauge Master D model controller before we actually end up buying the Gauge Master panel mount controller to fit on the boards where Natford Tunnel would be, or the Tidmouth Tunnel would be. But I haven't included the photograph of you and me like posing before we did the spray painting. We kind of look like characters from Breaking Bad, like bad to do crime. Just seeing us like wearing these face masks and they're getting all ready to do this. But yeah, I think we must have went through about 2 cans of this of Tamiya
Yeah,
spray
because
paint.
they are quite small.
Yeah, you don't get enough of that, like. But we got a good coverage of it all down here, so. And that's just another section that we had. I think it was this area we did first just to test it.
Mm.
We did try rail match sleeper grind, but somehow it just wouldn't stick to the track. So we decided to leave it, and we went for this option instead, because I think it just looked a bit more better. And then we got some Humbrol rust paint and did the edges of the track in rust color. This wasn't done on the original thing, but we just did it because, I don't know, just made it look a bit more interesting,
Yeah,
I suppose.
quite enjoyed doing that actually.
Yeah, it was very, very relaxing, very therapeutic. And whilst then, that was yeah. Before all this happened, I spent quite a few evenings getting the wiring sorted out. And my God, this was a nightmare. This was a nightmare to do. This was an absolute nightmare. In fact, I very stupidly mounted the point lever switches on this section here. You can just see the switches and the isolation switches here, when really they should be on the other board, where our control panel should be. But I think I just put them on here just to test to see, make sure everything was all working or correct before I extended them. But and you see the mess underneath here. My God, this is. I really hated the way I wired this. I'm gonna have to redo all this again. But yeah, you can. I'm fine with doing, wiring up a branch line and so forth. But for a main line, it's so time consuming and so difficult to try and remember which wire was for which. But there you go. And then came the day when we started ballasting. So we first laid out this. What were these here? Were these like draft extractors or something? If you
What
remember,
was this? Oh yes,
yeah,
those.
this white tip
They
thing.
were a bugger to get off.
Yeah, because like our joiner recommended this here because it would give a nice uniform look to the ballast, and plus it helped kept it in this section. So um, we used that. We just laid all around where we thought the everything would be. And if you may notice that there's some areas here where the island platform is on an advert. I've kind of made that section a wee bit too thin, so later on it caused a wee bit of issue when it came to actually designing the platform itself. Where's the picture again? Here we go. So that's the first few sections made up, and we used let me see, we used isopropyl alcohol or surgical spirit to dampen the ballast, and then used Deluxe Model's ballast bond because I tried it before and found it worked really well, and so we decided to use that instead of usual PVA glue and so forth, and yeah, so far it looked quite good. It was then during that time I actually decided to actually redo this session again, make sure make sure I laid this properly. So I think I don't know if I have a picture of it there later on of it relayed. Yeah, I do. There we go. So that's the new siding now, the good siding now, probably relayed and ballasted just in time. And just for a little picture cameo, we have my replica of Thomas and Clarabelle, and my work in progress replica of Henry, which I've recently got a brand new one to replace that one because something actually happened to that one, which a wee bit disappointed though, but well, these things happen. So that was all set and well, and then out of nowhere, the COVID pandemic happened, which
Yeah.
halted us in our progress. So, as far as I know, we were literally at that stage where we actually were going to see about continuing on to Tidmouth. We were applying that year to actually get Tidmouth's boards made, and yeah, then the pandemic happened, and we just had to go. All of us had to go into isolation for. I don't know how long we were in isolation for before we formed back again.
I remember it was well, I wasn't back till just a few weeks ago, but I think you came back in September, wasn't it?
Yeah, we came. Yeah, they said the restrictions were easing off for a bit there, so we said, right, okay, let's form back again here. You know, wearing face masks and out there, it's just to make sure everything's all fine out there. So at this stage, though, because when we actually went into isolation here, what happened is that it was literally shortly after we had actually glued the tracking out there. What we really should have done was like the day after that we had done this here, somebody would have to come in. Usually it would be me to go in and make sure the points and all were working okay, so that they don't get gummed up or anything like that there. But because of the extended period of the lockdown that there, you know, we couldn't go out at all. We had to stay at home, self isolate and all that there. So yeah, so basically all the ballast was just left on its own. Nobody was looking at it there, and at the time when I actually said, like, you know, I was allowed to go out and just to check on the thing here just real quick, I checked all the points, and nearly all the points were gummed up by the glue. So I was quite annoyed by that. So when restrictions were eased, I actually did spend a few evenings actually just going around the points out there and trying to soften the ballast a bit or soften the glue a bit so that the point blades can move back and forth, and try and get that all sorted out. But anyway, we did come back after lockdown eased, and we started to take up that white tip that was on the sides, and as TidmouthYard says, it was an absolute nightmare to take off because it kept leaving all these long white sticky residues behind, and just areas there. There were some areas there where the ballast wasn't actually properly stuck together, had to be redone again by hand, and it was just a nightmare.
Mm.
But that's the quarry section here. This section actually turned out all right, actually.
Yeah, it's one of the ones we haven't had to go back to yet.
Yeah. So, and you can see me with the wee scrapers and that there. I was basically going around scraping up all this tape and that there that was causing some issues. And also, I actually do remember at the same time. Actually, during the lockdown period, I actually did make some good. I actually made some. What do you call it? Reference research or something like that. I actually contacted an old railway driver from British Railways to ask his advice on where to put the signals on the layout, and he told me to send him over the track plan, and I sent him over Rev Nordry's original track plan. What was it? I sent him this one. I says, whereabouts would the signals be on this layout? And not only did he provide the like bracket signals and all that there, or home signals and distance out there, but he also provided where ground signals would be placed as well. So that was actually quite handy as well, because that's always a bit of a nightmare. So he very gladly did that for us. Let me see, picture. Where's the next picture that we went to from there? No, that's before pandemic happened. Oh yeah, there we go. So this is the next one here where we were testing out some platforms that we were making up here. So the one from the mainline section that was a keeper, because that looked perfect there. But the Allen platform for Thomas's branch line was pretty much a no-goer, because I don't know, it just didn't sit right well for me. And plus it was too thin, as I mentioned earlier on. There was parts of the ballast where it was too the ballast bed was too wide, and it kind of made modelling the Allen platform quite tricky to do. So we had to rebuild it again. I've recently made a brand new one there, so I think that's probably the new one that we're going to use instead. So so whilst all this was happening, one of the guys says, right, can we start doing some scenery work? Because it's going to be a while yet before we can build Tidmouth Yard, because there were some issues going on with some member of the men's shed who there was out of all the people in the men's shed there who actually liked our project, and they were very keen on the matter on what we were doing there. There was one person who didn't actually quite like us, because he wanted something else there instead. I think he wanted like a scale electric set or something instead of a model railway. So when he found out there was a group of railway modelers coming in, he was like, I wanted scale electric. So, but when he found out how big the layout was and how far we were going to take the baseboard to, he actually started to lay boundary lines. So there was a story where where the chairman of the men's shed came in one day, and he found him nailing a piece of wood on the floor in our area. And he gave up to me. He says, "What are you doing?" He says, "Look, what are you doing?" He says, "Oh, these guys are building the layout too big here, so I'm laying marker lines where they can't go." And the chairman just literally kicked that bit of wood off the ground. He says, "Look, you're invading their area, so you have no entitlement to be in this area, so get out." And of course, he raised stink and all that about the whole thing. And I don't know if he still carries on to this day, really, but he's very rarely seen at the men's shed these days. So yeah, we pressed on as usual. So yeah, as I said, the guy wanted to do some scenery, so we started work on getting the tunnel section laid up. So we're using industrial foam for this, industrial insulation foam, and it is expensive. For will admit, it is quite expensive to buy, but apparently, according to our professional joiner, he says it was the best one to go for. So couldn't argue with that. So using a reference photograph from Real Life of Thomas, where we see Thomas and Edward at the station, we use this as a rough guide as to how big the hill would be. And there's also one with Percy as well, so you can see that you can see we pictured there of the original quarry section there that we used for reference. And it's just like a bit of a rough photo recreation of that there. So where the cardboard is where the wee tramway section is going to be, the wee narrow gauge section. And again, we're just trying to see what way this is going to be built up and so forth. We actually did make this section a wee bit next to the tramway. In the original form, this giant rock face didn't actually exist really, but we put this in because um, we're gonna take this to shows. We need something to hide this return loop, so might as well just put this in, I suppose. And yeah, then we just continued building it up over time. Um, of course, I was making the tunnel portals using the Build Easy card kits, which I think Reverend Audrey used for the original. So I was making these ones up, and then I realized I'd forgotten to forgot to make a copy of the double track tunnel because I'd forgotten, because I had forgotten we were doing the double track tunnel, whereas on the original it's actually a single track. So yeah, kind of again another balls up from me on my behalf. So I had to wait until next week before I actually brought the template for that tunnel to do that. And then on top of that, there we made some paper mache on top because I mentioned that paper mache was actually quite good and did a good job. Now, a funny story actually with this is that we actually made a tub of wallpaper paste to stick this newspaper down, and I was kind of reluctant to actually use wallpaper paste because I know it's the adhesive you're meant to use for paper mache, but I originally used PVA glue, which speed things up and it made things it dried out a lot quicker than other glues. So, but the guy says, look, we're going to use this here because that's how you meant to use paper mache. And I thought, okay, just don't argue, let's do this. So we made this tub, and a guy brought in all the wallpaper paste. We made this up, and we stuck all this newspaper down. Came back the next week, and the thing was still soaking wet, because the main hall. This layer was actually set up in the main hall of this building, so it was like big open space out there. So, plus it was somewhere in the middle, near the middle of winter as well. So it made things a wee bit difficult for us. But the guys were raging that the glue hadn't set, and it was then we found out that this wallpaper paste that the guy had left in for us had was out of date. It was about 2 years out of date. So. So it was pretty much useless to us, really. So I says, look, I'll go and get us some PVA glue. It's a lot quicker. It'll dry a lot more harder and quicker and out there. So we did that. We redid this again, and sure enough, it did. It set rock hard within the next day. So after that, then we proceeded on getting the rest of the hill formed up, and these pictures show that. And of course, this is the new tunnel mouth. Apparently, one of the guys wants to replace this tunnel mouth again here with something he wants to make up, so we gave him that there to work off. But yeah, this gives you guys an idea as to how it looks. And then there's young Thomas photobombing again and testing out. So during one evening during lockdown, I actually went into the shed and I actually wanted to test out the some paints that I bought. So I used these garden paints for doing all the rock faces out there. So I bought a whole different range of different shades of that there that I thought would be good for making rock faces. And had a wee challenge to see how it all look. And apparently, seeing these photos right now, it actually doesn't look half bad really. But before we did this, we actually did cover the newspaper with some sand, like just fine quarry sand, and let that dry off. And then I just went over it with the paint just to further adhere the sand in place. And it actually does bring up a nice natural look to it, really.
I was very taken by this.
Yeah, and then. Next week, this probably took like a few hours or so to do, and then next week the guys came in, took one look at it, and they says, "Oh yeah, it's very good here. Right, let's put another layer of sand on top of that there." And I'm like, "What?" so after all those hours of work, like trying to get the right shades of to get the stonework all looking nice out there, it was still covered up again by another layer of fine sand. So because the guy wasn't really too pleased with it, wasn't sure it wasn't gritty enough. So yeah, all that there was then lost to another layer of sand. So And I think then after that, the restrictions went back on again. So we had to stop coming to the shed again and go back into isolation. And so nothing then was said until I think about when was it now? Probably late Easter time, I think. Can you remember?
Yeah, I remember it was definitely around that time, and it was 1st of June was the date I remember being
Yeah, yeah,
like
now I
put
remember. Yeah,
about. Yeah.
yeah. So it was late Easter. Um, we were hearing that restrictions were soon going to be lifting again, and so I I was talking with the chairman of the men's shed about the way the layout's been treated because during all this time. I had been making the odd appearance into the men's shed. I was the only one that out of the club that made appearances into the shed just to make sure everything was okay and so forth for the layout and that there. And but what I didn't realize was the woodworking workshop were constantly like making so many projects in that workshop that there was sawdust. Literally, the whole place was literally filled with sawdust. Like everywhere was just covered in sawdust, and this sawdust had flew over to our layout and just literally just buried it in a huge mound
Mm.
of sawdust. All the tracking out there, it was just all buried in sawdust out there. And the chairman of the men's shed saw this, and he was absolutely furious at all our hard work getting destroyed because again we put quite a bit of good number of hours work and plus our own money into this as well because all this remote modeling is not it's not cheap, it is quite expensive, like. So he was quite raging at this. So um him and me had a chat one time, and he says, look, I'll tell you what we're going to do. He says there's a room behind you there, which is actually the room where we set up in to plan out our layout from the very beginning. And he says, look, nobody's using that room right now because it was originally meant to be like a library or like a wee quiet reading room out there, and barely nobody was using that room. It was just wasted. So he says, look, why don't you guys, before you guys start up again here, why don't you take all the stuff out of that room, move your light in out there, so it's all out of the noise and the dust and all out there, and you can carry on with whatever it is what you're doing out there without no trouble at all whatsoever. So I mentioned to the guys, and that kind of dropped the idea of us getting a porta cabin because it was a lost cause really because just couldn't do it. And plus, I later found out that we needed planning permission as well, which wasn't allowed anyway. So even if we did want to get a cabin built there anyway, it would be against the law anyway. So I said to the guys, "Is that okay with you guys?" And they says, "Yeah." So yeah, myself and another member went in, and we basically took all the most of the stuff out of the room. So this is the room with the sofas and all removed. So uh, we basically just went in there, took all the stuff out, and then we went in, took all out and brought it in, and the next day or so, I went and just cleaned up the whole place, and that's the result afterwards. So like that's the before sequence and after. And by the way, also if you're wondering what this pile is here on the right here, we were during the lockdown. We before the second lockdown happened, there we bought a whole load of O-gauge track from somebody on Gumtree, and one of the members really wanted to start up like an O-gauge garden railway of sorts. So yeah, we're not quite ready to start yet though, but he's very keen on starting that. But
Mm.
yeah, we'll leave it for now. Um, but yeah, that was pretty much the room all set and ready to go. I was quite pleased with the results, and also during the lockdown as well, I made up the turntable for Tidmouth when we get round to doing it. So that's just basically a Pico 16.5 millimeter O gauge narrow gauge turntable with a Dapple turntable kit installed in place, and um, I'm going to be covering up those large scale boards anyway with some different ones anyway, so it'll look a bit more to scale.
Mm.
And yeah, then when we came back, that was it. We resumed where we were, where we left off, and the first thing we did when we started back was take up the track. No, but we didn't really take up it. It was basically because when we moved the layout, one thing that when we were laying the track, the one thing that we forgot to do was to install some couple cloud boards for when the boards align, so the track will be properly aligned. So what we're doing here is that we're actually removing sections of the track where we would relay it again with some brand new track, but have couple cloud boards soldered in place. In fact, I actually forgot to save those photographs right now, so you'll probably might see them maybe on Twitter or so forth, but yeah, that was just basically us scraping away those sections there. And these are the new ones being, the new rails just being measured out, ready to be installed, and to be glued into place. And then of course we have some jumper wires here for baseboard wire continuity and that there. And as far as I know, that's pretty much the that's all I have recently here in terms of the photographs of the layout. So yeah, that's that. That's our photo collection. So, what do you guys in the chat think of it so far? Let's see how we go from there. So, yeah, and then TidmouthYard, you came back. You came back to the club. I think about 2-3 weeks later after we started back. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it was sort of mid-June, I think it was, near the end of June.
Oh. So what's happening right now with the layout? What way we are with the layout is that we've got both the copper clad boards installed, both the middle section of Tidmouth Station, the quarry line, the tunnel out of Natford, and we're just about to start relaying that track that curves round towards Tidmouth Tunnel. And once we have that done, we're going to do like a test run of the track, and then everybody else is going to be like probably doing the ballasting or so forth, or once we get the platforms and all properly fitted in, then we're going to see about I'm probably going to see about rewiring all the point motors and that there to make sure that they're all working properly this time and no more issues. And then after that, then it's on to Tidmouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of points.
So many points, and I'm dreading the wiring. So, if we can get another electrician on our team, then that'll be a godsend for me.
Yeah.
It really would.
I think one of the nice things about the Tidmouth we're doing is that originally I don't think Audrey had the engine shed.
No, he planned on doing the engine shed, but just never got round to making it. So that's currently our aim at the moment. So, where did I?
It's quite an interesting plan for Tidmouth. It's sort of a mix between what we end up with in the Railway series and sort of the very early ones, like in Troublesome Engines.
Yeah, because like Troublesome Engines used I think Troublesome Engines used the layout for track plan references.
Certainly, the second half of the book does.
Yeah, because like I think in Tenders and Turntables, there's the overhead shot of Tidmouth. I think it uses the track plan as reference for that there. But as well as replicating the layout net there, we actually are going to also replicate the engines in rolling stock.
Oh yes.
We're going to be using for the Wild Nor'Wester. I bought some Hornby 00 tin plate coaches because it's pretty much. I think it's probably the best choice. I think because I think the original ones were tin plate. I'm not sure, but as far as I know, these Hornby 00 ones, they do require some new sides because the paint's all chipped in out there. So there's a guy who has a YouTube channel called I Add That, and basically he has like a big Hornby 00 layout. And part of his channel shows him restoring old Hornby 00 locos and coaches and stuff like that. They're using some vinyl prints and that there. So I contacted him and I asked him if there's a way he can make up some some new decal sides for our coaches not there. I gave him the choice of colors not there, and he says he says that's absolutely fine because he has the templates all set and ready to go. So he just needs the colors and whatever logos we need on it there. So it's a very quick process to do, really.
Hmm.
But I think the hardest one is probably good. The rolling stock's easy enough to replicate out there, but the hardest one is definitely the engines, because because knowing me, like I really want to try and get the actual original models used
Mm.
for the original engines, and that's often quite a challenge. The most challenging one, I think, so far is both Thomas and Percy. Because getting hold of Stuart Repath locos is, I won't say it's quite rare, but it's like a very hard scavenger hunt to try and find. But if you're very lucky on eBay, you might find one would pop up. And
They don't tend to go for much, do they?
no, sometimes if somebody knows what it is, then they would put the price up. But if somebody just says, "Oh, I don't know what this model is. It's a die-cast engine and so forth," it's best not to actually say anything and just like slowly bid low. But study what they're looking for. I mean, they would probably maybe bid something a bit low or something or other, and then when you finally get it in the end, you think to yourself, "Oh my god, I just found a very rare logo," and this guy doesn't know what it is. But the most I say out of all of them, the most hardest one is Percy's model, because Percy's basically of a long discontinued kit brand, Larco Brass Models, I think it is, and the chances of finding one is like 1 in a million, I suppose, because they're so rare, and I think the best alternative is basically getting one of Sparkshot's 3D print versions, because I think that's probably like the closest you'll ever get, unless you want to heavily scratch build one using reference photographs of the original. Then by all means go for it. And then last week I found a Larco kit on eBay, and I think in the chat at the moment here, if she's here. Spicy Becca very kindly bidded on it for me. So thank you very much, Becca, for that. So yeah, we now actually I finally managed to get hold of a Larco brass kit, and my God, it's what can I describe it really? It's interesting, and it actually helped. It even helped me learn a bit more about how Percy's model was made. For example, did you know Percy's saddle tank is actually made from copper
Ooh.
and not brass? So yeah, copper sheet. I suppose maybe copper was probably easier to bend or shape, or I have no idea, but there you go. Then there are some other parts in it there that does require replacement or so forth there, but I don't know. But yeah, it's nice to have one. Spicy Becker is more solder than brass. Yeah, whoever actually soldered this kit together actually didn't use the proper solder. He actually used electrical solder instead of proper brass solder. So there's like huge lumps of solder inside it, which is not nice. So I think I might probably maybe tidy up, try and see if I can remove the original all that solder off, and then try and see if I can get the proper stuff and try and maybe reassemble it. But I don't know. But yeah, but before all that, there we will see about as well as making up replicas of the original rolling stock and the inches that there. When we're running this at shows, we're not always going to be running Thomas stock on this here. I mean, we're going to be running like normal stuff, like normal inches that there. So
like Sir Ralph Wedgwood.
Like Sir Ralph Wedgwood, yeah. But he actually did a bit of a photobomb one time on the layout. I can't remember. Did you post it? Did you actually post a picture?
I don't think I've ever actually had Sir Ralph on the layout, actually.
Oh,
no,
I
he's not come out of his box.
I know you brought him down onto the layout though, but I never saw him on the layout exactly though.
Yeah,
But your Edward was on it though.
it was, yes, and Toby as well.
Yeah, your Edward and Toby. So that was wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Um, so yeah, I'm just gonna quickly post just put some pictures up of the original northwestern layer, just so you guys can get an idea exactly what we're trying to recreate here. Okay, where is the picture? So this is one of them. This is basically the Tidmouth section. Now these photographs were taken before the layout was dismantled. So here you see Tidmouth Port with Henry arriving with the stopping passenger train, and in the background is James at the in the local lay-by. Best place to put him really, because his model only had a one-way motor fitted onto it.
Yeah, if in every one of these pictures, you'll notice James is in the exact same place.
Yeah, because like I think it's probably just due to the operation sequence, I suppose, here, and then of course you see Percy waiting in the background there just to shunt the coaches into place here.
Hmm.
Now I'll just get the other one up here real quick. So just checking, can you guys see that one? No, you can't. Let's see, can I change windows? Right, just change this again here. Okay, so this is the next one here where we see Edward arriving with the Wild Nor'Wester.
Oh yes, proper engine.
Yeah, Edward. I think this because I think out of all the engines out there, I think both you and me just seem to have our own Edward models on the layout, and we seem to have him do all the important jobs really.
Yeah.
So like your one's a repainted Hornby one, isn't it?
It is, yes.
Yeah, and then mine was of course the original 2P kit used that was used on the original. Funny enough, actually, it was actually bought I actually bought that model from a friend of mine, who was selling it at a model trade show, and I saw it. And I thought to myself, this has to be a case kit. Please let it be a case kit, because I've been searching everywhere for one and I can't find one at all. And so I just asked him what kind of brand is that logo from? And he says, oh, it's from a case kit. And I'm like, oh my god, yes. I says, it says, how does it run? He says, oh, it runs beautifully there. He's got a brand new motor fitted onto it there with Romford wheels. And I thought, oh my god, this gets even better and better. so I asked him how much it was, and he told me how much it was, and it was quite pricey, I must admit. And he asked me what I was going to do with the model, and I says, look, I says to him, look, the reason why I'm so excited about this is because I've been looking for one of these here, and I'm trying to do this project here and so forth here, but I think this price was a bit too risky for me to take, and so I'm just probably going to leave it there. And so I left it there for now. And then my dad was with me at the time, and he came up to me and he says, "Here, I got that model for you." And I'm like, "What?" He says, "Yeah, I bought you the model." I'm like, "Well, that's just, but you know I'm going to repaint this, don't you?" I mean, it was already like painted up in a beautiful LMS livery out there, and I says I don't want to destroy this lovely livery out there just to make it into Edward. And he's like, look, you've been looking for this model for so long, so like just. You know, your friend said like he didn't care what became of the model, just so long as like you were happy and you got your model in the end. So kudos to him, really. So yeah, I got my Edward model in the end at long last. So that's another item off the list. So the next one was to try and find what was used for James. James.
Oh yeah, it's a toss up, isn't it? Whether it was a kit or a PR Wickham scratch build, isn't it?
Yeah, because I do remember actually asking Luke. Luke Ryan has been very helpful, by the way.
Oh yes.
Luke has been a godsend, really, just to get us access to give us permission to use like some original like notes and that there from Reverend Audrey's Model Railway Diaries and that there, and just fantastic stuff there, really. But he also had access to the models as well, so he managed to find the original James model, which is now repainted into the Glasgow South Western Railway livery now. but it still exists really. So I asked Luke. I says, what does the model what does the model feel like? Is it brass? Is it die cast? Is it scratch built? He says it's white metal. So
Oh,
so somewhere there's a brand that does a Glasgow and South Western Railway Class 403 engine of sorts, and we now have to try and source it out. So, but I contacted somebody online. They said that they're thinking about maybe making a kit version of this engine. So he heard about us, and he says he's going to let us know when it's going to be due out. So we'll see.
be nice to have a proper James.
Yeah, yeah, proper James. You heard it from here, folks. um, is it some sort of kit bash? To be honest, I really don't know. Actually, I really don't know if it is a kit bash. I have no idea at all. I have no idea at all if it is. But if it is a kit bash, it certainly is a very professionally made kit bash. I must admit.
Oh yeah, that's PR Wickham.
Was it PR Arkham made, James?
Yeah, he made James for the Reverend. Yeah,
I did not know that.
it's in the scrapbook on the Real Life site.
I must look that up actually. But yeah, we'll definitely see about getting that model built. Plus, we also will be making spare James as well, James Mark II. Because I think you're making that one, aren't you?
Sort of inspired by, I would say, not like a proper replica,
Right. Okay.
because I'm using the Hornby shell.
Oh yeah. Well, that would save you a lot of time, really. Like just
Oh yeah.
doing that there. Whereas, I think for my one, I'm just probably going to do the more challenging bit. Doing this, suffering the modification bits.
Yeah, because the thing, if you're going to extend an 06, so the scary bit is having to extend the smoke box as well.
Well, I don't think the smoke box needs to extend it really.
Well, the Hornby one's got an extension on it.
Aye, that was for the face. That was for
No, no, there's I swear Audrey extended his. Just have a look at the picture here.
Maybe he did. I'm not sure.
Let's see. I think the only good picture is the annual one.
Well, I do have proper close-up shots of that. But do you know what? I'm actually just going to share this one picture I have. Some picture I have of close-up James that I took in 2016. So, oh yeah, you're right. It is extended.
You can see the seam on the Hornby model where they've done it as well.
Yeah, I didn't know that. All right, right.
It does help to stop the extension at the front looking a bit overlong.
Yeah. Just checking the server here that is mentioned. Oh yeah. Sorry, we're just I'm just kind of distracted here at the moment here, so with another thing. Anyway, sorry, what was I talking about? I've lost.
Oh, it was James Mark II.
Oh yeah, James Mark II. Yes, I was going to show a picture of that. Yes. Okay. I'm sure people are going to start screen grabbing this now. How long do you think? How long do you think it'll be before this pops up on the Wikipedia?
Oh God.
Actually, one of the screenshots from one of my videos is actually on the Wikipedia page, and I
Oh,
wasn't
wow.
aware of it. Yeah, but there you go. All right, exclusively for this stream only. This is a side view shot of James Mark II. If in case you're wondering where the bogey is, it's part of it there that got fell off there, but it's going to be reattached. It's just the screw for there just came loose there, so it will be reattached. So yeah, you can see how it's made up there using the Triang 3F, and as you can see, Reverend Audrey's fitted with Rumford wheels, extended the smoke box slightly. If you look very carefully, if I can just zoom in real quick, you can just see the seam lines there.
Nice new funnel and dome as well.
Yeah, definitely.
The dome's been repositioned as well, hasn't it, on the
Yeah, the dome got
border
moved.
band?
Yeah, the dome's got moved slightly forward there, so it's actually in line with the second boiler band. So yeah. So yeah, that's that model. Insane. I wrote 3, 2, 1, ping, 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 ping. Yeah, very funny. But yeah, uh, how long do you think it'll be before that comes up? Like I said, how long will it be before that goes up on the wiki
Oh
page?
gosh, I don't know.
Ugh, but yeah, but they're not really meant to be shown on the wiki page really. But anyway, so what other model should we talk about that might be challenging for the Northwestern layout?
Well, I suppose Henry's a bit of a headache, isn't he?
Oh yeah, yeah. Because like recently, I've actually just got a brand new Graham Forest 3F, not 3F, Class 5. Because I found out actually that Reverend Audrey's Henry doesn't actually have a molded cab side. Yeah, it doesn't have a molded number on his cab side. So I was on the lookout for um, a model of Henry without the number molded onto it there. And somebody on eBay actually was selling one, and I thought, right, that's pretty much it there. I'm gonna go for that one there and use that as Henry. So it arrived today, and does it like the original Henry, how it came to Reverend Audrey? It was in a bit of a sorry state, really. So this does require some cleaning up. Really, it's quite dirty and parts are all seized up. So yeah, a good bit of TLC will need it. But yeah, hopefully it'll be in good running order, and then try and see about getting the model working and running on the layout. Because I know that when I brought the layout down, when I brought Henry, my other Henry model down to the layout there, we tried running it with the original motor, and do you remember the noise it made?
Oh god, it is funny.
Oh god, it's like it's like hearing an old World War II siren starting. That's basically how it sounds like there, with a bit of like a little metal clankety in the middle. But I actually learned I think I actually learned from a video earlier on I was watching. There's a famous model railway layout that's still, I think it's still a Buckingham Central, and it was made by a famous Reverend railway modeler. But the person who now owns the layout was friends with the original was friends with the original builder, and he asked him, like, do you ever bother about the noise that the engines make because the motors are so loud? And he says he doesn't really mind at all, because it actually does tell him when the model's actually moving. Because like these days the motors are so quiet, you can't even actually tell if the model's moving or not. So if you're making like a large mainline layout and you just don't know whether your express train is moving, what's the chances of it being stalled or so forth there? So yeah, because this Henry has a loud motor, it will help us get an idea when it's moving or not. But yeah. Anyway, let's have a go. Just how we might as well have we read through the questions here that.
Oh yes, back up to the very top then.
Back up to the very top here. So the first question is from Mr. Smurfy Dan, Mr. Daniel Coffey. Questions to Michael: who inspired you into model making in the first place? Thomas. Best, probably Luke Ryan's best answer from when he took part in the Great Model Railway Challenge. So we'll go into railway modeling, Thomas. So yeah, I knew from the very start when I was little that Thomas was the model train, and I really wanted to get into railway modeling. So at a later age, so there we go. So how did you get into railway modeling?
It's actually not that long ago. Well, I've been playing with Double for quite a few years, and I think the first thing I did was to correct the tender frames on the Hornby Gordon. Just sort of snowballs from there.
Cool. Let's see. Next question here. Dylan May, do you have plans of going to the Tugs exhibition Clearwater event on August 28th, celebrating the history and legacy of the two Clearwater Features productions, Thomas and Tugs? Michael. Oh, no. Unfortunately, I'm going to restrict myself to where I go this year on holiday and so forth there, but definitely going to the orgy weekend
Oh yes.
in Wales, because that's an opportunity I do not want to miss. Any excuse to see the Far Cry branch plus the Mid Sodor operating after so long. Last time I saw a Far Cry branch was in 2017, but the last time I saw it operating in person was in 2008 when it came to Northern Ireland for the Cultural Model Railway Day railway show. So yeah, that was my first time seeing Far Cry Mark II in the flesh. And the funny story, I didn't find out it was actually coming to the show until the day before, the night before the show. So yeah, that was kind of a bit of a surprise for me, really. But yeah, both myself and TidmouthYard, we're definitely going to the show.
Oh yes.
Because it's wonderful. It's a wonderful journey. Plus, we're also as well as replicating the Northwestern area. We're also going to have a go at doing a replica of Mid Sodor as well.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I forgot. Did you
Almost forgot about it.
Did you forget about that?
No, like it sort of escaped my mind for a minute there.
Really? I mean, after all that time you made making that Stanley model and buying all those kits.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are going to have a go at making Mid Sodor, and Luke Ryan's video lecture of the Mid Sodor layer is going to be really good, helpful inspiration for reference material for that there. So,
Oh yes.
definitely going to be using that for reference. But we haven't started yet though. As far as I know, all we have is the baseboard and a track mat that I printed out of the layout. Of the layout track plan, so it's printed out, scaled it to 1:1, so that we can trace out where the root null is going to be. So, but that's as far as we've got so far. So, I think the Tidmouth layout's taking too much of our time right now to think about it.
Yeah.
So, triggered Wallace. Oh my god, I love that. I love it. To be honest, that's actually one of my favorite memes.
Oh, it's good.
I love that. I think my favorite one out of there is basically it just has the caption saying me pees in the shower, and the next one says IKEA employee, and it just shows a picture of him. It's still me. No, I think the first one that made me howl laughter is basically it just says me turns off the fan so I can hear myself better. And then it just says everybody else in the helicopter, and it just shows Wallace. I think I spent half an hour trying to recover from laughing at it, but that was actually quite good. That was good. So, Triggered Wallace asks, small question: will the spare Thomas Ginty model appear at the end of branch line engines and possibly operate at the NWR region layout? Ginty Thomas didn't come out and wasn't made until Far Cry Mark II came out in River Nordic Sing. So that was I think if you're referring to the Triang Ginty model of Thomas, then I'll probably be making that at some stage here. But the Stuart Repath model of Thomas is definitely going to be featured on the Northwestern layout. Featuring in branch line engines, I don't know yet. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know whether or not. I don't know if the original models will make an appearance. So I can't really say. I don't want to give any spoilers away as to what happens in branch line engines. So yeah, just have to wait for yourself. So Eleanor A3 Productions asks, so is this an end-to-end layout? Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So yeah, the trains start off from Tidmouth, then they end at Tidmouth. Enough said. Tales of the NWR. Oh, hey there. Hi.
Hello.
Hello. The Sudrian Fleet. Hello. Hello. we're going to be answering a lot of hellos. Trainmaster321, hello, hello. How long is this going? Anyway, Sudrian Fleet asks, hi Michael, how was your time working for Thomas and Friends for Big Worlds, Big Adventures? It was fine. It was grand. Really enjoyed it. You enjoyed my time there. Wish it could have been longer. But there you go. Especially Becca, this isn't question time at the moment, it's story time. Oh yeah, that was the
Well, now it's question time.
Yeah, now it's question time, yeah. Ellsbridge Films. Hey Mike, do you think you'll ever do replicas of Audrey's and 009 stuff? Yeah, we currently are at the moment. I think we just mentioned it on the Midsoder thing. Yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna be working on that there. In fact, in this joint project, I think you're pretty much I think we put you in charge of the rolling stock, didn't you? Because I think that was
I've got lots of
you really wanted to explore that one.
lots of very old and weird kits.
But I think so far, the models that we've done so far, I think you've done
Stanley and Tim. I've got
Stanley and Tim, and I've got Duke.
I've also got Boxy Albert. It's just unpainted at the minute.
Oh, Boxy Albert, yeah. This is Albert. This is also Albert. This is also Albert. Probably one of the best lines out of that video.
Yeah.
Let's see. Next one here. Triggered was also greetings from Mexico. Okay, greetings from Northern Ireland. Joseph the Midland 4F, and then there was light, and it was good. Oh yeah, that was for when we got those lights installed on the layer, didn't we? Yeah, I've actually forgot how far back this went.
Yeah.
Nafrid Quarry isn't canon, right? Would you say it's canon?
I had a look there, did a little word search through the iOS PDF. It's not mentioned at all. So I think the thing you have to remember about the Northwestern layout is that it did come before all the lore was properly laid down.
Yeah, because
he did just want a layout.
Yeah, he just wanted to make a layout showing off his characters. So the Island of Sorrow wasn't properly created at that time. So the Reverend Audrey's trip to the Isle of Man hadn't taken place at that stage, but when it did, then the Island of Sorrow was invented. So in fact, the NWR actually was. The NWR layout was originally called the Nowhere Railway, which is quite good. In fact, somehow it keeps me thinking of a railway set in the universe of Courage the Cowardly Dog, who lives in the middle of nowhere. I've been currently binge watching that series right now, so it's a bit of going through a bit of that phase at the moment. Dominic Z. Hi, White House Films. Hello. Back to the hellos again. LNR A3 Productions. If you painted over the rails, how do you run trains on them when paint is in the way? Simple. We clean the rails. We clean the tops of the rails with a truck rubber. Simple as that. Or isopropyl alcohol, or whatever. Whatever helps with stuff. It's only that we just make sure we just paint the sides really, and then we just clean off the top of the rails for power and that there. Dominic said, White House Films, what do you think of the Toyota A6 Trueno? Give me a sec here for a second. I'll have to look at that. Dude, talk about yourself there. Toyota, what is it? Toyota AE86. AE86. Oh, that. Fine. Fine. Can't really say much about it, real, but it's fine.
I think the next question here is Insel Frog or Electro Frog points.
Where's that now?
Becca's asked that.
Ah, yeah, we're going for electro frogs. No, sorry, insult frogs. Sorry, we were talking about using electro frogs for a while, but yeah, none of us had really much had experience with the electro frogs, so we couldn't really do anything about that there. So we decided to change that to insult frogs instead. Becca also asks, what do you have? What would you have the shed made out of? More car kits? Yeah, we want to. I think we're probably just gonna try and make most of the buildings all out of car to try and keep that old retro look to it. And because we're trying to replicate something that was done in the past, we want to try and make it feel as much as it was in the past as we possibly could. Because I think when I first exhibited my Farquhar Mark One replica layout in 2016, people were very pleased at how retro it looked. People actually did thought it actually did look like the actual something actually did come out of the 1960s or 50s because of the way the buildings and all were. And yeah, I think that's probably what maybe we'll try and stick with as best we can.
I've always thought your layout looks like a John T. Kenny illustration.
Thank you, because John T. Kenny is actually my favorite illustrator from the Railway series.
It's all the yellows and everything. It's very branch line engines.
Yeah. But that's definitely. I think that's definitely the look I was trying to look for, really. It's just something out of his illustrations, really. But yeah, we'll definitely see about doing that there. We'll definitely see about doing that there for this one. Joseph the Midland 4F. Will it have Glasgow and South Western Railway James?
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely. It's an acceptable form of James.
Yes.
Apart from 3F James, who's also quite good.
Yeah. But if that fails, then we'll probably do one of the what was that engine from the Irish engine that has the same?
Oh god, the K2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be definitely another alternative. should we fail? Let's see. Becca also asks, will the club have their own engines to run on the layout, or will they go for you? Or if they go for me, they'll probably strangle me or something. But yeah, definitely. Yeah, we said earlier on that we're definitely going to be running some other stuff. We're going to be running some normal tunes because there's one fella in our club who's a huge fan of the Flying Scotsman. So much so that he would not stop talking about it there. And to keep him very happy, to make him even more happier in the club, I actually bought him a replica casting of the name board for the actual Flying Scotsman train, and I've hung it up on the walls in our club room. And when he came in and he saw that, his eyes literally just lit up. It was like a child on Christmas Day. Really, he just thought, he was like, "Oh, Flying Scotsman, yes." In fact, actually, I still can't get over the joke. The funny thing that do you remember last week, before he left, he came in wearing this dark leather coat jacket and a what I don't know what sort of hat it was, but basically this fella, he has snow white hair and he's growing a beard right now. He's growing a snow white beard, but he was wearing this black leather jacket and so forth there, and he was just he just put it on. He put his hat on. He was about to go, and I says, "Hold on a second here," and I says, "Turn on this for a second." I looked at him and I says, "To the others, do you think he looks like Terry Pratchett in a way?" And they were like, I don't know, actually. I says, hold on, I'll get a picture of Terry Pratchett here. And I got the picture up and I put it next to it, and everybody burst out laughing, going, "Oh my god, he actually does look like Terry Pratchett." So that was great. That was quite a funny laugh that we had for last week. So, Eleanor A3 Productions also asks, why can't their models just be 3D printed? well, some models will, but if there's like a last resort, then we will have to resort to using 3D printed models. But if we can get as close to the original locos as we can, getting the original loco models out there, and working it, getting maintaining it and getting it to work on current day tracking out there and getting it to run it as smooth as we possibly can, then that would be a huge improvement, a huge miracle, really.
Mm. Also
And
means you don't have to faff about with filler primer and all that.
no, no, that'd just be sheer absolute nightmare, really.
Ugh.
Absolute nightmare. Um, Media models. I remember building one with you. Must have been from
I think he's talking. They're talking about Percy there.
possibly. Maybe it was. I don't know.
Oh, look, it's Ian McHugh.
Is he? Oh wow. Hello, Ian. How are you? How are you guys doing in Ireland? Well, we're good.
Yeah, it's as good as we can be, I suppose.
Good as you can be. Spicy Becca replies back saying, "Hello, hello." We're back to the hellos again. It's more sort of. Oh yeah, this is back to the Percy thing again. Yeah, so forgot all about that.
Mm.
Don't exaggerate. What do you think of the Tomy road and rail system? I don't know. It's been that long since I last used it, so I haven't used that since I was a kid. So
I think it's quite impressive if you've all the different destinations set up, actually.
yeah. Well, I do have. I actually. I still have. I still have my old Tomy stuff like that, but it's now in the current ownership of my nephew now. So
Oh.
he loves the bits now. So, in fact, after when I took up my garden railway, this year for because I had issues with the track power and so forth and other, he commandeered that area of the garden, and he's now made up his own garden railway using the Tomy stuff. So that's very
Oh.
good. Yeah. So where the track originally ran, he's now laid all his Tomy track on that exact route, and he's running all his Tomy trains on it there. So the garden railway hasn't died. It's just now a different form. So good on him. So
Mm.
a Thomas fan in the workings. Mr. McHugh asks, what is your favorite episode that you wrote? It's the episode that I haven't written yet. That's the favorite episode.
Oh.
I know. There was. I will confess there was an episode I actually did originally wanted to write, but I couldn't get a slot in. In fact, if you want, my favorite episode would have been one that would have been in series 24, but I just couldn't get a slot for that episode. So, but for the time being, for stories for a story that worked together quite well, Free the Roads, because it just literally went together beautifully, really. Hardest episode I would say to write, Heart of Gold. Without a doubt, it was the hardest episode ever to write. Mainly because I was worried about getting Toby's character wrong. But there you go. Anyway, moving on from that there. Let's see. What else do we got here? James is as useful as a cup with a hole in the bottom. Well, I suppose.
Oh yes. I know what this is about. I think the wording on the document, it doesn't exactly say one-way motor, but I think it implies he only worked well in one direction.
Right.
It's very awkwardly worded, but I think that's what it means.
Right.
Because I had to check this earlier in the week, actually.
Let's see. How close were these photos taken together? What was that compared to the others? That's probably
The old layout photos, the
the old
50s
layout.
ones. Yeah.
Yeah. As far as I know, the photographs there that I showed there of the original layout, these were taken off the old Real Lives website. So, there are the original photographs are still in the study, as far as I know. But I don't want to pester Luke now there to go out and hunt them out really. So because he's already done enough. He's already done enough for us already, helping us with this project by getting reference stuff from out there for us. So, but yeah, those photographs I showed you there, they're from the RM website, because they're ones that are ready to hand to show. Let's see. Check the server. Yes, I've checked it. Right, let's see. Jamie Boy 1995. How does it feel to have written Thomas's grand finale episode? Hmm. Do you guys want the honest truth? Really? I'm both honored but also upset, because I didn't really want to write the last episode. In fact, I didn't know it was the last episode until I was told. So yeah, that when I was told, I kind of was a wee bit upset that I didn't want. I actually didn't want it to be me to write the last episode, because I wanted Thomas to continue on. But there you go. But yeah, but I'm still honored to have been given the honor to write the final episode. But a bit sad at the same time. Uh, I think especially Becca's already answered Eleanor 3 Productions' question about Gordon. But he asks if there was a Mark II Gordon.
It's the debate, isn't it?
There is a bit of a debate, because there is a photograph of a lineup of engines that was used for reference for Stepney the Bluebell engine for Bold Out. And you see Gordon's model, but it's a different model altogether. I do remember having a bit of a funny, a bit of a laugh argument with my good friend Tom Foster about whether this was actually a brand new model or not. As far as we know, it's not a brand. I'm still thinking it's not a brand new model, because if it was, then we would have known about it. It would have been
The thing about it is, it's got Grizzly cylinders, and it's got the sort of trademark Audrey button nose smokebox door.
Yeah. As far as I know, it could possibly maybe be a loco that he borrowed from somebody.
Probably maybe from Teddy Boston.
Possible. Well,
Although he
Teddy
was a
Boston,
Western man, though,
he
wasn't
was.
he?
He modeled Great Western. So I don't know really. I don't know. I really do not know if a second model of Gordon exists. But I do know there was one Gordon existing made from a Trying Princess model.
It's very impressive, isn't it?
Yeah, in fact, I remember the modeler's corner stream where I did try to make that model, and oh my god! And of all the days it had to happen on Friday the 13th,
Oh,
when everything went wrong in that stream. It turned out I ordered the wrong wheels for that model, so I had nothing to do. It was meant to be a tutorial on how to change wheels from Triang to Romford, and that ballsed up. So I had to result on doing a slight body conversion, which didn't really go much anywhere. So there you go.
just before we move off of Gordon, I think an
Yeah.
interesting fact about him is he came after the layout.
Yeah, he came out. Yeah, because like when the layout was built, it was C. Reginald Dolby was still the illustrator, and then when Gordon came around, it was John T. Kenny. So I'd say it was the Northwestern Mark II. Gordon probably might have operated on. But there isn't really much. There isn't really much proof really I can actually give as to whether that model did run on that or not. I know, as far as I know, the only model I know that did run on the Northwestern Layout Mark II was James, because there is photograph proof of that. But yeah, in terms of Gordon, I have no idea really. If you just give me a wee sec here. If you want to continue answering the questions in the stream there, I'll just be back in just a wee sec here.
Okay. Right, let's see. Didn't the Triang A3 exist yet? I don't think it did. I think that definitely would have come after. I think Triang sort of emerged late 50s, early 60s. I think that's correct. Let's see. What's the next question? Just from GW Shunter there, I think there's certainly for James. There's a few prints popping up now for the. I think it's been labelled the Class 29. That's what James has been called now. So, yeah, I think there's more and more stuff coming out every year now, so it's quite exciting. Let's see. Next question. In terms of what's happening at Audrey Weekend, the 2 layouts are going to be there as far as I know. And I think at least Edward Thomas is going to be dressed up as Peter Sam. So I think the Nicolas Cage face will be out for that. So that's fun. So if anybody has any more questions, I've just reached the bottom of the chat here, so I think we'll be going on for another wee bit yet. So any questions, please send them in.
Alright, sorry about it.
I just got to the bottom of the questions here. I think there might have been 1 or 2 for you up there.
Alright,
Just about the baby Tombow shell, I think there was one about that.
the what?
The baby Tombow shell.
Baby Tombow. Oh, is that the one that Gavin altered?
Yes.
Oh yeah. That's alright. I don't know whether I would actually buy one or not though, but probably might at some stage. Let's see.
Oh yes, just from Joseph the Midland 4F here. I think it is an N-Class chassis, so I believe it was quite easy to get hold of. Let's see. Let's see, question for me here actually. I don't have any measurements, I'm afraid. Any wagons I've made have just been from commercially available kits. So the Rodney Stenning kits, which you can get on Dundas, are what I go for.
I think that's probably what I can see questions at the moment. Sojourn Fleets asks, do you think the Golden Jubilee should have been the grand finale of the show? I don't know really.
I quite liked Royal Engine as a finale.
It's alright. If I had given if I had much more of a time slot for there, then like more running time, then there would have been a lot more added into though. But yeah, just didn't have enough time really. Does anyone have advice on painting models? Because I ordered some kits, but I have no experience painting models. Yeah, as Becca says, I just basically look at some video references online, ask people who have done it before for advice on what the best way to approach it is, and just experiment, trial and error, learn from mistakes, all that there stuff. Then you'll find you'll make a good turnout in the end, whatever way. So, right. I think that's pretty much all we have in terms of updating everybody regarding to the Northwestern layout, I think. To where we are right now. So, yeah, for a quick reminder, everybody, for what way the layout currently is, we have we're at the stage now where we're making our way now towards Tidmouth. So, the Knapford section is nearly finished in terms of trackline wise. Scenery work will take place over the next coming months or weeks out there. So that's just going to be a bit of a slow going process there, but we want to try and get Tidmouth's tracks laid up so that we can get all the track laying done. It's all done and dusted, so that once we have the track all laid out there, when it comes to doing the scenery, we can have a nice an evening train run after doing all the work on it there, and yeah, it's just enjoy ourselves really. Just have a bit of fun just seeing trains running at
That's what I'm looking
Longhouse.
forward to.
Yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, Media Models asks, how large is the layout? Width-wise, it's 10 feet, I think. Length-wise, now this is regarding basically the baseboards are all different sizes out there. So basically, if you want to find the proper maximum perimeter size, it's roughly 10 feet wide by 18 feet. That's including the return loop. So, but so far we've so far modeled about, I think it's about 8.5 feet or so by 14. But we were told that in the room that we're in at the moment here that we can actually run the trains through the adjoining wall and make a small platform layout in the workshop area, which will be covered up anyway by perspex glass to protect it from the sawdust and out there, so that we can make up the return loop. So yeah, that would be quite a good challenge. Jimmy Boy says, it said on Thomas Wiki that your favourite story is Thomas Comes to Breakfast, and I'm interested. What's your favourite Thomas film? Thomas film? Well, Magic Railroad was the only one I saw in cinema, so I would consider that to be film. But if you're referring to like DVDs, films, and out there, that's pretty more or less. I don't know. I wouldn't say it's basically a film, but if I saw it on the screen, then you know it would have to be Magic Railroad because that would be the only one I've seen. From my childhood point of view, really, I thought it was quite a good film. I loved the model set in it there because, to be honest, I think that was probably the best thing out of the film, really.
Definitely.
Yeah, because like the modeling in that film was like top notch. And when I probably got into railway modeling, I used the model shots from Magic Railroad as reference because it just looked really good. So it was either Magic Railroad or season 4 of Thomas that I used because I think that had like the best, that in terms of the television series wise. I think season 4 had the best scenery, without question.
Oh, definitely, yes.
Definitely. What's the other one here? There's a theory I heard that John T. Kenny had trouble making Thomas with his sloped running board, so that's why Thomas Constructor was made. Is that true? No, actually, it was Reverend Audrey who had that issue because he thought Thomas's buffer level was in different proportions, so he came up with the idea of having Thomas crash into the station master's house just to solve that issue. So it's a bit of a jokely theory. If I think if it doesn't look right, destroy it and rebuild it, I suppose. So, I mean, he had trouble with Henry, crash, rebuild. Simple as that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Now we'll give the stream. I'm sorry, Tim, if you didn't get much of a chance to speak much here. So
Oh, no.
I was doing most of the talking here. So, but yeah, definitely glad to have you on board on the stream here, and sharing your thoughts and memories of our time working on the layout. And can I ask, before we end the stream, can I actually ask, what was your favorite memory so far of working on this project? Like, is there anything in particular that you remember that sticks out in your mind, really?
I got two, actually. I enjoyed the day where we finally got it running. That was a good day.
Yeah.
And the first day where we sprayed it, where we come up on a Saturday, which we didn't usually do.
Yeah, because we always have our evenings on Tuesdays, don't we? Yeah. But yeah, we were there on Saturday because of those. We had arranged to have a meetup with somebody somewhere regarding to a new venue, but didn't seem to work out well. So we just stuck to where we were. So for me, really, I think probably the best memory I think so far was basically us moving into that new room.
Oh yeah, it's much better, isn't it?
I hated being in that open area because in the wintertime we were freezing so much. It was so cold in that open hall, and I remember having 2 gas heaters on full blast, trying to keep us warm because there's members in our club that actually are pensioners now, and they were suffering badly from the cold and that there, and I was trying everything I can to make sure they were kept warm. And but yeah, having this wee room now here because it's now enclosed out there, it's it's even got carpet floor as well, which is even better. It helps even get up more heat.
Mm.
Yeah, we'll definitely be nice. We'll be definitely for once we'll be warm this winter. Working on our layout. So yeah, but yeah, that'll probably be my favorite memory so far, and yeah, hopefully the next few weeks here more good memories will come through.
Yeah.
But definitely looking forward to getting Tidmouth meetup.
Oh, it's gonna be good to finally have the whole
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, and once we have Tidmouth meetup, if we get if we get the track and all laid up here and we have a mock up of the station, we're definitely gonna do a video of the
Oh
room
yeah,
because
absolutely.
we're not gonna waste this opportunity. So, right, guys, thanks very much for tuning into the stream. Thank you all for all your questions and support out there, and see you soon whenever.
Bye.
Bye bye.